Oh, it's James Bond cool, but don't be looking for any kind of submarine. Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a Hot Wheels 1996 Lotus Esprit S4 V8. I pulled this one out of my exotics bin. I think I picked it up in Croatia on a road trip. According to the Hot Wheels fandom page, it debuted in the 2002 first edition series and continues to be produced. I don't really have to resist the urge to turn it into a Bond submersible. I didn't have that urge. You can get one of those on eBay. I did find some intriguing pics online from the Petersen Automotive Museum of a 1983 Lotus Turbo Esprit Special Edition. Not this exact model, but I'm asking you, as I do each week, to use your imagination while I have some fun. This is a pretty hefty little car, at least the die-cast body. It's got a plastic chassis, so I'm carefully removing the axles and wheels, which I'm not going to reuse. I'll be 3D printing a set of more closely matched ones for this project. Here are my inspiration pics. This is the special edition, this one being on display at the Petersen Automotive Museum. I've got lots of graphics to go by to help me out. This is a special drilling and tapping lubricant that you can get from the Diecast Graveyard website. That helps prolong the life of your drill bits. It's an essential step that you can't skip, because once drilling out the posts, you need new screws to put it back together again. My new paint scheme is essentially all white like this is, but I prefer to start with a blank canvas so the stripper takes away the original paint, and now I do a little bit of detail work on the bare metal, using an assortment of different attachments on my rotary tool. The Lotus Esprit debuted in 1976 and quickly became one of the most iconic performance cars of the era. It has a rear mid-engine, rear-wheel drive layout. Together with the Lotus Elise, it's one of Lotus's most long-lived models. Its dramatic wedge-shaped silhouette was the work of famed and highly successful Italian automotive designer Giorgetto Giugiaro, who became known for his straight-line folded paper designs in the 1970s. The Esprit was produced until 2004, and its design was revised first in 1987 and again in 1993. The sharp edges were softened and the overall shape rounded to better reflect evolving trends. Mine's getting all primed up now, and I'm about to discover that was one step premature that I need to fix. I really appreciate each one of you that follows regularly. If you're just new to the channel, there's going to be a new upload every Saturday at the same time, with a focus on die-cast cars, but a sprinkling of variety that I hope will be interesting for everybody. So I look forward to having you come back to the channel. The best way to help me is simply to leave a thumbs up and become a new subscriber if you're not already. The little oversight that I just alluded to is the change in rear spoiler from the Hot Wheels casting to the Petersen Museum exhibit, so I had to grind away the original one, file it down, and I'm going to make a scratch-built one that more closely approximates the real car. I use a thin piece of styrene plate, cut it to width, few more measurements, and I glue it on like that. If you apply baking soda generously to superglue like you see me doing here, you're going to make some instant filler. All that requires now is a little more filing and shaping, and another priming. Now I've got a Petersen Museum Esprit. Much better. Back into the spray booth. I'm using Kaleido Diamond White for my top coat, so you won't see a tremendous difference on screen here, but it does go from matte white primer to a much nicer diamond finish. These are the original wheels that I bag and tag and put away for some other project while I set to work on designing a set of these BBS-style rims that I think are really going to sell this project. The originals just wouldn't do. They came out exactly like the real car. I'm so happy with this. I made some 12 millimeters, a little bit fatter for the back, and 11.5 millimeters up front. Now to detail them, I'm using my Gaahleri metallic pens. For a gold interior hub, I hand brush on some chrome around the BBS spokes, and then black out the rubber. Wouldn't have hurt to put a pair of gloves on for this. But check that out. In the end, I'm going to put a Lotus emblem right in the center of those. Consulting my inspiration pics regularly, I see that I need to do some black brush painting on the bumpers front and rear. Along with the cosmetic upgrades that were done, to help its performance and image keep up with the times, Lotus introduced a turbocharged variant in 1981, which upped horsepower from a meager 140 to 210. Now it was a rocket sled on wheels. Another difference between the Hot Wheels casting and my special edition are these louvres over the rear windows. So I did some more 3D printing. They'll get painted black too. Today's community shoutout goes to Atomic Fish on Instagram, a site that I've been following for some time now, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy his work too. Follow the link in the description and check it out. Now to decal up my special edition, I've made my own custom Turbo Esprit logos, scaled them down to size. There's a Lotus hood badge too. Special edition script goes on both doors, as well as tiny blinkers up front. Custom taillights on the back, and the red racing stripe along the lower door panels. That's all there is to it. The Hot Wheels made a right-hand drive casting. I simply clipped off that steering wheel, put a 3D printed one on the left. Now I can focus on the leather work inside. I'm using a Vallejo Middlewood brown. It's a little bit darker. It takes just a light spray with my Gaahleri Aventus Black Aurora airbrush using a 0.4mm needle. That matches the pictures perfectly. I see the steering wheel needs to be black. That's easily taken care of. And that's all I'm going to do to the interior. The plastic chassis can get a little bit of chrome detail on the undercarriage. I do that with a drop of Molotow chrome and a fine paintbrush. Lotus experienced serious financial difficulties in the late 1970s that resulted in the company abandoning the American market in 1981. In 1983, a new private import and distribution company called Lotus Performance Cars was formed with the help of 50 investors. Every investor received one of the first 50 Turbo Esprits manufactured for the American market. Each car was built to the owner's specifications and had a hand-painted special edition insignia on the driver's door. After a 28-year production run, the Esprit was one of the last cars made with pop-up headlights, together with the fifth-generation Chevy Corvette. The end of an era. The clear coat has dried sufficiently now for me to handle the Esprit for a reassembly. There's a quick look at the bodywork and decaling that was done. The glass went untouched because it was pristine. I did need to print my own louvres. That'll go on at the very end. Conversion to left-hand drive, and I like to paint the wheel wells black on my models so you don't see anything if you peek in behind the wheels. And these wheels are custom made. See the tiny Lotus logo right in the middle? That's my favorite part of this project. It's a very simple reassembly. I've done a couple of dry fits along the way, so I'm confident that everything is going to fit snugly and go back together just the way I want. With a couple of replacement screws and a touch of super glue to hold the 3D printed louvres in place. This Esprit is in the can. Let's have a closer look. The whole casting was stripped down and resprayed in Kaleido Diamond White with a careful creation and application of accurate decals for the special edition Turbo. 3D printed louvres, steering wheel, and custom wheels were printed and painted as closely as I could replicate the real ones. The original casting was based on a 96 Esprit S4, and it's a little bit plain Jane, so I'm glad I found the pictures from the Petersen Automotive Museum of the special edition Turbo to do mine up this way. I enjoy the challenge of trying to replicate real cars, as I did in this case, with special attention on the small details like the wheels. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll leave a respectful comment below with your thoughts on all things Lotus, and I welcome you back soon and often. Drive carefully. It's coffee time.